Hello friends, this is Jarle for Cloud9 Crafts. In this video I have a Valentine's envelope to show you. Just a little bit of inspiration for this month's challenge, which is all about hearts. You can find a full supply list in the description box below if you want to check that out. To make the envelope, I used this 123 punch board from We Are Memory Keepers. All instructions are written on the board itself. You just check the measurements you need and you go on from there. I made an envelope for a standard A2 sized card, so I had to trim my paper to 8 1/4 by 8 1/4. Since I wanted to do some Copic coloring and stenciling, I chose Lawn Fawn white cardstock for the envelope. I'm not showing you the whole process of folding the envelope here, but if you want, I can make a short tutorial of that also. Just leave a comment below if you would like that. Before decorating the envelope, I'm putting down some strong double-sided tape on both side flaps. So I do this left and right, then I remove the backing paper and I press down the bottom flap firmly on top, just like this. I wanted to use this new washi tape from Lawn Fawn. It's the string of hearts and I thought it matched perfectly with the design I had in mind. So I just put some washi on the bottom of the envelope, and this is perfect for grounding my images I will stamp on next. After that, I put my envelope in my MISTI and I stamped the image from the So Damn Much stamp set from Lawn Fawn. I also used the Would You Be Mine just because I wanted an extra cattail on the right. I stamped the image in Lawn Fawn jet black ink since I was going to be doing some Copic coloring. Before coloring, I put a scrap piece of cardstock inside my envelope. This prevents the marker from bleeding through the envelope. I didn't want to risk some ugly stains on the back of the envelope. And then the coloring process could begin. I do have to mention here that I screwed up a few times. So I put my green marker on the wrong section of the image, as you can see here. Not a problem, I just went over it with the right markers later on, and I would worry about correcting the mistake later. Also, for those greens, my caps somehow got mixed up from last crafting session, so I will definitely list the right colors I used below in the description box. When the cattails were done, I'm moving on to the cute little beavers. As always, I'm starting with my darkest color and I work my way through my medium and lightest color. I do this 2 times to get a nice blend. I also try to work in different sections when coloring images. So I did the bodies and the faces first before moving to the tail of the critters. Some lines didn't stamp perfectly, so I went in with the Copic multi-liner to perfect the outlines of all of the images. That's just a little detail, but I find it makes a big difference in the end result. Off camera, I also went over my coloring with my Polychromos colored pencils, just to correct my mistake from coloring the cattails before. So now it's time for some fun stenciling. I took out my Make Art station and I put my envelope on it. I masked off the top of the envelope with Heavy Doodle masking tape. It's nice and white, so there is no risk of getting ink on the flap of my envelope. I started inking the first stencil of the Falling Hearts stencil pack. I did this with Kitsch Flamingo Oxide ink. I used a small brush for this so I could work more precise. That's because I didn't mask my colored images on the bottom and the stencil was just a little bit smaller than the total width of my envelope. So that's why I had to be extra cautious not to ink the edge of the stencil on my envelope. Before going over to the second stencil, I blend a little bit of that Kitsch Flamingo on the envelope itself. I didn't like the stark white look, so I just put down a little hint of that pink color. After that, I put down the second stencil of the set and I blend on a little bit of spun sugar distress oxide. This way I had 2 tones of pink on my envelope. And as I did before, I also took a little bit of that spun sugar and I blended it on the envelope itself. Here you can see the big reveal, taking off that heavy doodle masking tape because my envelope or my stenciling was finished. After putting down my own address, I took out a postage stamp. This is just a forever stamp from Belgium. And I also wanted to decorate my envelope some more, so I took a sticker sheet I use for, I think, all of my envelopes. It's a sheet from Studio Schatkist. I chose this cute pink envelope to go beside the actual postage stamp. I thought it matched the colors beautifully. And then on the back I also chose this little happy mail sticker. How cute is this? For the address I drew a few lines with a pencil to not have the address written all crooked, because that's just what I do all the time. I obviously erased them after writing down the recipient's address. I chose to send this envelope to my mom just for Valentine's Day. To make sure my envelope was waterproof, I topped it with some distress glaze. I take a little bit out of that jar with my finger and I coat the whole envelope with it. Now you do have to make sure that you don't put it over the postage stamps. Otherwise the machine in the post office will not take the envelope. So don't put distress glaze over the postage stamp. Really, really important. When the envelope is coated, I just take a paper towel and I buff all the excess off. This finishes off the envelope. I don't do this very often, but I'm kinda pleased with the result. I hope you liked seeing it come together. Thank you so much for watching, and I will be back soon with another video. Have a great day. Bye!